So the clip I'm about to show you is from a comedian called Stavros on the Theo podcast. And I think this is the most effective message in defense of voting for Democrats that I have seen this cycle, more than any ad, more than any politician. Listen to this. Some of this is a little inappropriate, but focus more on the comedian than Theo Von, and then we're going to come back and talk about it.
What are people truly scared of, do you think, when they talk about Trump? But what is it? I kind of start to wonder, what do people be scared of?
I can tell you right. I mean, so for me, I didn't love either candidate here. I really didn't understand being enthusiastic about either candidate. I think, I'm not a Trump guy, obviously. I think he is dangerous in the things that I'm scared of the most. And the thing that made me lean towards Kamala was, more than anything, was the Supreme Court, and that it would be, if it's put under like far right control for the next however long. We've already seen, women's right to, over their bodies, the abortion, Roe v. Wade's been overturned, which I think is really dangerous. That's going to really affect women's health care. Already in states that banned it, you see they're getting less just general OBGYN care because it's more dangerous to be a doctor in those states. So we don't think about shit that trickles down. So it's harder to get just general health care, let alone abortion, in Texas now for women. And that's only going to get harder in rural states. And I think for me, that was the number one issue. Yeah. That's really scary to me.
Well, especially with the border being open and they're letting rapists in. It's, you know what I'm saying, though? It's like you're just...
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's the best time to repeal that.
Yeah. If we're going to follow your logic and you claim they got rapists coming in, maybe we should also keep abortion. But, I think we got plenty of homegrown rapists too. But,
look,
yeah.
We've got our own.
Sure.
We got some union guys.
We've got some heirloom American rapists for sure.
Jesus Christ.
But I think that's the number one thing that scares me is about that, because it's not only that's the first step. And I think you can really see stuff that we take for granted as progress. Gay marriage is another thing. There's a really weird cultural, I think this is what happens anytime the party that's backed by the powers that be, big business, the richest people in the world want far right politicians. And I think if
you think still?
Absolutely, without question.
I feel like tech is now. I just feel like the parties have
Elon
changed.
Musk is a huge Trump guy.
That's a good point.
I think rich people will support whoever's in power, number one, but they want to transfer wealth from the poor to the rich. They've been really good at doing it.
So in my opinion, these are the conversations that we need to be having in order to break through that right-wing echo chamber. Having conversations with people who are not politically aligned with us, and definitely not PC, but showing them the damage that is going to be done by this Trump administration. You can see Stavros just talking about it casually and saying healthcare is going to be harder for women. This is a really dangerous thing for people, but is saying it in a way that is conversational and within the flow of the conversation with Theo Von, who is saying some very inappropriate things and incorrect things about immigrants. But you can see he can stay in the conversation and get his point across. And I think Democrats and progressives really struggle with being able to find the right spaces to have these conversations with people whose minds could potentially be changed in a way that a TV ad or a politician cannot be effective. And I think we need to do a lot more of this. And this is why I think we really, really need a new democratic progressive media operation that plays across all channels and talks to all people. It's not every person saying the same message at once. It's everyone taking that message and tailoring it to their own voice and their own audience in order to communicate with more people. I think Democrats have been really, really ineffective in this space. And you can look at Republicans and they dominate it. They dominate podcasts. They dominate YouTube channels. They dominate social media. They have Fox News and they have two other channels. So they're hitting and Facebook, they're hitting their audiences at all angles. And we don't do that. And we also don't do it in an effective way. We talk about our policies and we get into the specifics. And most people just don't have time to focus on that. And we need to win on overarching messaging and just saying things clearer for people to understand, and also not scold people when they disagree with us 10% of the time. Like, you notice, like, Theo Von said a pretty awful thing there. Stavros kind of just brushed it off and focused on the message and focused on why Trump is going to be so dangerous. Democrats and Democratic donors need to start funding these types of communications and talking with people, and supporting influencers that are doing this work, rather than just focusing on spending billions on ads that don't really work in the way that we wish they still did. So I love this clip. I'd love to talk about it in the chat, what you think about it, but I think this is the path forward for Democrats, and I think this is how we start winning hearts and minds, is with people like Stavros having those conversations.